Okay, video number 2, we're going to work with rests. Now a rest is basically a silent pause, because you can't have notes singing all the time. Imagine hearing la 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 going non-stop. You need to have a bit of a rest inside there somewhere. So a silent pause is referred to as a rest. Now we talked about fractions in the first video, okay, and we worked with whole note. Remember that? And we were dealing with 4/4, so it's the whole bar of 4/4, very important 4/4. And we worked with a half note. Basically, 2 of those equal 1 of those. 2 half notes equal a whole note. I'm repeating intentionally to reinforce it. Then you're going to have a quarter note. And if you think of the fractions, the mathematics, 4 quarters make up a whole note. 2 quarters make up a half note. Okay, another nice way of seeing it, and I'm going to break down now as well, just before we go into the rests. 8th note. And again, like I said, they've got classical terminology like breves and crotchets and quavers. We're not dealing with that. We're looking at the numerical value. And another nice one that I saw once on a music chart is they put the whole note on top like that, and they sort of break it down like this. So they put a whole half note there, and a half note there, and then divided that into quarter notes. And you can actually see how nicely this graphic sort of layout displays it. Not going to write it quarter 4 times, sorry. Okay, and then that again will divide into 8ths, but remember that don't like writing it like that. That sucks. So we're going to sit and take it like that, and we're going to join them like that. And that would do that over here. And then you get the same over here. So this diagram for me that I saw in one of the classes somewhere, it's just a really nice illustration. I wish I could say I thought of it, but no, I didn't. Okay, but it's a very useful one, and there you can see your 8th notes. And 8th notes equals a whole note. Okay, back to rest. Now we want to have a pause between note values. So these are your notes, and we're going to have what they call rests. Rest, in other words, for the beat, nothing must happen, dead silent. Okay, so if you're missing that, nothing you heard is a rest. Okay, if you see on your sheet music a little rectangular thing underneath your staff line hanging there, that is a whole rest. So this is going to be your rest column over here, rest column. Okay, if they put the little rectangle on top of the line, you'd have a half rest. Now this one over here I can't draw very well, so please don't mock my handwriting and my little scribbles. It's going to go like that and something like that. Well, I'm sure you've seen it, and it looks a lot neater on typing. Okay, and then your last one, the 8th note, looks like a little 7. Okay, so those are your values for when you want to hear nothing. So same values over here. It should be a 8th. Why did I write a 2? Okay, correcting myself on the fly. Okay, but you got it over here. You got your rest values on the side over here, you've got your note values on this side over here. And that's what happens with music. You either got note playing, and it must play for a duration on a certain beat. This tells you the duration and on what beat. And this guides you as to when you want to have those pauses to create a sort of a anticipation, silent gaps between the notes, equally as important. And this over here, just a graphic illustration of how a whole note splits into half. The 2 halves go into quarters, the 4 quarters go into 8ths. Again, maths all over. Okay, now we're going to go back to the piece of music we looked at the first video. Okay, it's Lonely Boy, like we said. It's from the grade 3 book. And you'll see over here, we got our first rest. Now, that is the correct way to look at an 8th note rest. So this over here is an 8th note rest. So that means he is for the count of 1. So on the count of 1, nothing happens. It's not 1 and, because he's an 8th. If he was a quarter, it would be 1 and. Because remember we explained, if I go back to the original note over here, it's hiding in the corner. Remember from video 1, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections. We divided them into halves and quarters and everything. Same concept. only we're using rests now. So that means this rest, 8th note, count to 1. So the and must be on him. He's an 8th, so he's also going to be just 1 count. 2 and there we got a quarter. So the quarter books the 3 and. He books that. That's his count there. 4 and. We got that. Okay, now I'm going to jump a bit ahead because I'm going to give you some homework with this over here. You've seen this page. I can send you the PDF file for this page uniquely as well, so you can print it out and write on it. Or you can just take it from the video and just screenshot it, whichever is easier for you. I don't really mind. And I want to look at this bar over here. We're going to look at him, just because we have to pick some bar. Okay. This note is an 8th, 1 and. That rest is an 8th, 2. That is a 8th as well, and this one here is a quarter here. We have to know the symbols. Okay, so he is 3 and, he's going to be 3 and you got another quarter which is going to be 4 and before we finish off, I'm going to highlight this little lad over here, because that little sort of arc is called a tie, which means it ties those 2 notes together. So on the count of 1 and, because that's a quarter, this note is going to ring 4 and 1 and then the next note's going to play. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the top bar over here, and I'm just going to play the rhythm for you quickly, make sure it's nice in the view. Grab a guitar out. First of all, I'm going to tap the rhythm. It's going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but there's no rests, so the notes ring. So I'd have something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You got that? One more time. Make sure that I'm blocking the view. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Cool. The next bar over here, we've got a rest, so nothing happens on the first count. So you're going to have 1 and 2 and. Okay, so on the 1, dead silence, 1 and 2 and. Cool. Now, for the guitarists, you'll notice that there's a little tail coming down here. That is called a slide. It's a slide down. It's from fret number 12, so you go all the way to your 12th fret. So you're somewhere where the double dot is. See the double dot in your guitar? That's fret number 12. I'm not focusing on the playing that much. I'm just showing you where to find it. And I slide it down like that. So the second bar is going to be rhythmically 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it should sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if I put those together, I'm going to have timing first, tap it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and if I were to play it, it would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and there you got your note values. Okay, so just watch your note values, count out loud, very important. Your teachers will tell you at school as well, count out loud. I hope you got that for now. Okay, what I'm showing in the background now is basically the program that I use to generate the tab for. It's called Guitar Pro. You can probably download it free of charge. It's obviously a very old version, but old versions are normally free because they use it to demonstrate the new versions. And if you go a bit closer here, you can see there's the numbers. So that's my computer screen busy doing its thing when the phone gets too close. And there you can see using the arrow, you can see the arrow moving around there. There's your 8th notes, 8th note, 8th note. And if I were to hit the play button over here, you could actually hear what it sounds like. Okay, I didn't start it from the beginning there, so I will start it from the beginning this time. And what's quite cool about this, you can actually put a metronome on. There's a little countdown. So you can put the metronome countdown inside there as well if you want to. And you can have a counting. And that's quite cool because you can actually hear and see what your music should sound like. If you go to over here where the cursor is moving across, you can actually sort of slow it down. By doing that, you can obviously choose what speed you want to slow it down by. And once you got that, you can play it again now with a rewind. And check this out. And watch this line. And you can hear the silence for the rest we spoke about at the beginning of this video. And what's really cool about this is it keeps track of where you are. So it actually is a very nice teaching aid for you to help learn how to read music as well. So get counting out loud, understand your note values, see your note and rest values as timing placements. In other words, they're booking the 4 beats. Obviously, if you're working with 3, 4, or 6/8, to be different, but the studies on 4/4 is what we're doing right now, and the principles are the same. Obviously, just different fraction values, but the concept is identical for any other time signature. So I hope this is helping. If you've got any questions, give me a shout. And I'd like to see your filled-in sheet music showing me how you allocated the counts. In other words, if you look over here now, over here, for example, I put in the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in. I'd like you to finish off. I'm going to send the PDF of this through. I'd like you to finish off filling in all the counts for the rest, because then I know that you understand the values of each note and each rest. And any questions, drop me a WhatsApp. Take care. Thank you.